Pat Riley and the Miami Heat have finally went out and made some new additions for this Miami Heat squad, allowing 2 new players on Exhibit 10 contracts. We'll break down all the moving parts on this episode of Heat Digest, so let's not waste any time and get to the new additions in Miami. Now, if you guys don't know, I will break down in just a minute what Exhibit 10 contracts actually are, but these 2 new players are on those contracts, and again, credit to the Miami Heat Twitter account saying official. The Miami Heat have signed guard Bryson Warren and center Malik Williams. So again, this happened late yesterday, around 4:45, 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, yesterday, September 11th. So let's get to it and break down what we're actually looking at here. So the first player we're looking at is Bryson Warren. He last played at Overtime Elite. If you guys don't know, that is one of the biggest, it feels like one of the biggest AAU teams, but again, it's a step past AAU as these kids are getting past college and trying to get into the G League and play for these G League affiliate teams. Again, Overtime Elite. And again, he wasn't a great player. He wasn't a horrible player. But again, he is a guard. He's not even 20 years old yet. He's 19 as of now. Again, born in 2004. He averaged 8 points, 1.5 rebounds per game, and 2 assists per game. Again, not a great player, but again, still very, very young with a crazy skill set that could really translate if he's taken in by the right players and he gets to get mentored and watch players like Jimmy Butler, Duncan Robinson, Jaime Jaquez Jr., Terry Rozier play. He could definitely be molded into an elite level basketball player later down the line. I can't wait to see how it plays out. And then the second player, the center, Malik Williams. Now, if you don't know who this player is, don't be surprised. Ben Rogers at Raptors Digest didn't know who this player was, and he played for the Toronto Raptors in the last year. So again, he hasn't played a lot, but again, it's a good addition for the Miami Heat because he's going to be brought in with players like Kelman Ware and Bam Adebayo, and he's going to have to learn. He's going to have to quickly adjust and be able to take on the matters that he's going to have to handle to be able to carry his own weight along with these high-level players. And if he wants a roster spot and he wants to be competitive and actually play for something for this Miami Heat squad rather than just getting dumped off after the offseason ends due to not making his tryout contract, which we'll break down just in 1 second, the Exhibit 10, he is not going to have a job. So again, Malik Williams, if he wants to be able to have a job and be able to stay with this Miami Heat squad, he's going to have to produce. He played 7 games last year. He started in 2 of them. He didn't do a lot. 2.7 points per game, 5.5 rebounds per game, and less than 1 assist. I will say the rebounding numbers are pretty good for the amount of playing time he was getting, but again, he is not a dominant force by any means. He can shoot the 3-point shot, which is going to be a benefit to him as he's going to be able to stretch the floor, as well as with other bigs like Kelman Ware, and obviously Bam Adebayo has done his thing over the last year or so, really trying to add that part to his game and add that element to his game with the ability to stretch the floor, whether it be long twos or even long jump shots and being worth 3 points. So now let's get to breaking down what an Exhibit 10 contract is to make sure everyone understands what we're actually talking about. Now, if you guys have not heard this term before, we've broken them down for players like Alondes Williams, Josh Christopher, and others, as they are basically tryout contracts. You say you are a total free agent, you are looking to get into either an NBA team coming from the G League or even possibly from free agency. But again, he went an undrafted player, a very young-esque type of player who, again, did not get a fair opportunity yet. Maybe a team like Miami sees you, they offer you an Exhibit 10 contract. Now, that means no money is guaranteed. That means it is less than the minimum, and again, it is not guaranteed. So if you don't make this deal, or if you don't make this team with this contract, you're probably, or I'm assuming you would not end up getting that money because the contract is just going to be totally negated to then be taken off the payroll for that franchise. So again, Google's answer for what is an Exhibit 10 contract, or the definition of an Exhibit 10 contract, is as follows. An Exhibit 10 Exhibit 10 attachments allows the NBA team to convert a player's 1-year minimum contract into a 2-way contract. But this has to occur prior to the start of the regular season. These 1-year deals are often non-guaranteed, which lets NBA teams waive the player and remove their cap hit from the team payroll. So again, it's really like a tryout. You are attempting to try out for this team. If you make it, you are not waived. The contract then stays put. You are in a 2-way contract, which means you can play for the G League affiliate team or even the NBA team under this contract. And again, if you do not make the tryout, you then will be waived. The contract will then be negated, and again, they will not owe you anything, and you will not owe them anything. And again, it's basically the best way and the easiest way to put this is it is a tryout for a professional basketball team. And again, these players are not these guys are used to this. This is not something that they're not used to. Obviously, they've been playing basketball the entirety of their lives, and again, now they're just playing on the biggest stage, and again, they're just highlighting how good they can be on a professional setting. So let's quickly break down this article really quick as it goes on to break down really the Malik Williams deal and the two-way contract, or the Exhibit 10 contract, they should call it, as he goes on to say the briefly tenured Toronto Raptors center has reportedly inked a new deal to join the Miami Heat for a training camp, per Hoops Hype Michael Scahado. The deal will reportedly be an Exhibit 10, allowing Williams to fight for a roster spot in training camp while allowing the Heat to maintain his G League rights for next year. Now we go on to say, the 25-year-old big man had a strange season last year. He began the season with the Sioux Falls Skyforce, Miami's G League affiliate, but he was waived just days into the start of the G League season. He was then re-signed by the Skyforce and went on to start 24 of the 33 games for the Sioux Falls Skyforce last year. Williams averaged 11.1 points per game, 9.3 rebounds per game in the G League, and appears poised to return to the Skyforce this season. So again, it is not going to be his first time really fighting for a roster spot, in the sense that if you're on a G League team and you are really competing to really showcase the talent and how much better you are than everyone else that you're playing with on the G League level, and hope to really get boosted up to that NBA level and be able to get a shot to really compete against the big guys and try to find a spot on that 15-man roster where you can possibly find yourself getting minutes on the floor on the NBA level night in and night out. So again, this is going to be a very, very, very competitive offseason. I know we're getting towards the end of it, less than 45 days until the NBA season gets started once again. But we have to remember how important this up-and-coming month and a half is going to be for this Miami Heat team. After breaking down everything we did in this video, you have to go back and remember a little bit more. Josh Christopher, Keyshawn Johnson, Pella Larson. All these guys are going to be competing for roster spots going into next season. So in order to really compete and be able to really stand out, these guys are going to have to play better than one another. And again, a lot of these guys are on these Exhibit 10 contracts, which means a lot of these guys are trying out. They are competing against one another. This should bring out all of the highest levels of energy amongst everybody. These rookies are going to come out. And these guys battling, and these first and second year players are going to be battling amongst one another to highlight how much better than they are than everyone else in order to get a roster spot. And if you have rookies and youngsters setting that type of tone, it has to then relate and translate to having guys like Butler, Bam, Jaquez, and all these other guys proving their energy and showing how much harder they're going to work than these young guys, and prove that, hey, you guys are fighting to get to these spots. We are already in these spots, and you're not going to take our starting positions from us. You can fight for a bench spot. And again, I think the overall competitiveness of this offseason for this Miami Heat team, right at the end of it, as we are in training camp going into the next season, I think is going to translate greatly, and I think it's going to propel this Miami Heat team to be very successful and very competitive, especially in the early stages of this up-and-coming season. But again, that'll be it for this episode of Heat Digest. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys on the next one.